What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of San Diego Prep Insider. Christian Pedersen.
David Ring.
Bodie DeSilva.
We're getting there. The intern is calm. Tommy is gone. Noah is MIA. We've got more baseball and football news than we've ever had to get to in a single show. I was entirely right about Sage Creek. There's a lot going on this week on the show, so thank you for joining us. We are going to have a look at some top 10s. We're going to have a look at some game balls. We're going to have do we have dingers and walk-offs this week, Dave?
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, nice. And then we got, like we said, we got tons of football coaching position news to potentially fill or talk about. Where do you want to get started? Bodie, can you give us a quick rundown of the Scorebook Live basketball and baseball top 10s for this week? Bodie is joining us, as always, on behalf of Scorebook Live, the official digital content provider of the entire state, but we don't really care about that. We just like the San Diego CIF section. We're a San Diego show. We're San Diego people. Bodie's our San Diego guy. We mess with him.
Starting with basketball this week, there wasn't a ton of movement up top. Cathedral Catholic, Torrey Pines, and San Marcos all stayed undefeated. They remained 1, 2, and 3. Santa Fe Christian stayed at 4 as well. They're 7 and 2. 8 and 2 after Monday, of course, and Carlsbad's at 5, Mission Hill 6, El Camino 7, Mater Dei Catholic 8, Orange Glen 9, and Francis Parker 10. And there's a lot of competition right outside that. A bunch of good teams that are looking to move up. I know St. Augustine got a big win last night, and Mission Bay, Bonita Vista. So there's some good.
Bonita Vista, I am in on being a top 10 team. I am also in on Coronado as a top 10 team because. And I will be curious how you judge this sometimes. I look at it in the high school sense as if you're playing your best game, what do you got? Do you have a top 10 team versus what is really your sustainability over, especially a still somewhat COVID-rattled year? So I look at it with Alexander Crawford and Wayne McKinney combo 1-2. That might be the most dynamic 1-2 punch in the entire section. So I put them, I have Coronado hovering right on that, the 10-ish bubble, if you will.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. There's not too many teams year in and year out that can, in boys basketball in San Diego, that can say they have 2 Division I signees on their team, and that's what they have this year. At this point, I dropped them down just because of losses to Carlsbad, La Jolla Country Day, Cathedral, but as they work further into the season, I know they're going to take on Torrey Pines next week and the rest of their league schedule. So definitely have a chance to jump back in and make a playoff run.
Moving on to baseball, top 10. Dave, do you have a top 10? We didn't really prep on a top 10. I don't personally, so just so everyone knows, I don't like top 10s anymore. I don't need the clicks in exchange for the vitriol and the hate and the drama. So Prep Insider has gone on turning those in. So Dave, do you have one or do you want to react to Bodie's?
Like a top 5.
So, okay.
I mean, I have.
Give us your top 5 then.
San Marcos probably gets in there at number 5 for me. It's a close one with Eastlake. I mean, Eastlake is a very strong team. They've just had some tough losses, so probably sneak them to La Costa Canyon for sure. Grossmont and Rancho Bernardo still with only 1 loss. I'd say. You know, those are my top 5, 6 guys, and then Torrey Pines, Sage Creek, and then a couple other guys like La Jolla Country Day maybe be in there. They've had 7 wins in a row. So, it's pretty solid right now after about 16 games for most, 17 games for most teams.
It is so awesome that we are deep into seasons and not talking about any sort of, they're only at 9 games still, or they're only at 7 or whatever. Like, so happy, man.
Most of these baseball teams are already maybe a week or just starting their league schedules, and it's great to see that they're going to get a full season in and playoffs, and then, as it was announced yesterday, get some regional playoffs for the first time. So
I want to get to that.
Yep.
We will get to all of the playoff updates, but Bodie, close us out with the Scorebook Live San Diego Section baseball top 10.
Yeah, so not a ton of movement either this week. Rancho Bernardo at number 1. They did lose their first game, but what was really impressive, they bounced back against La Costa Canyon, who beat them 2 days later and took them down 11-0. So Grossmont moved up to number 2. They're 14-2 now. That's a really good team. La Costa Canyon at 3, St. Augustine 4, San Marcos 5. Eastlake at 6, they're right there and easily could beat anyone, but unfortunately they've lost 3 times to Grossmont, all by walk-off. So it's bound to turn for them at one of these games. Granite Hills 7, El Camino 8. This is a team that's won 12 in a row. I think they're going to really make a deep playoff run. La Jolla at 9, and I had Torrey Pines at 10.
Very nice. Wanted to shotgun through a couple of other sports. We've got the boys and girls lacrosse rankings have come up courtesy of Lax numbers. Girls side, we got number 1 Scripps, La Jolla 2, Torrey 3, Country Day 4, Cathedral 5, Poway 6, Patrick Henry 7, Coronado 8, San Marcos 9, La Costa Canyon 10. There will be more available about that on our social media. Over on the guys' side, and I do not apologize for reading these quickly, List Radio, whatever, trying to get all the shout-outs we can. Guys, CIF high school lacrosse rankings. Right now we got Torrey Pines at number 1, go figure, Cathedral 2, LCC 3, San Marcos 4, Poway 5, Grossmont 6, Bishops 7, SFC 8, La Jolla 9, Rancho Bernardo 10. Go figure, Torrey Pines number 1 there.
Yeah, sounds like a lot of the normal teams in boys lacrosse.
Yeah, go figure. Not a lot of surprise that they would come out of the pandemic just fine. They're a very, very deep squad. Game balls next.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Dave, you want to lead us off with your first game ball? That is next on my to-do list. I promise I will get you game ball sounds. That's a great idea. I'm ashamed that I haven't thought of that yet.
All right, speaking of that game that RB won 11-0, I had to give Shoon a game ball, as they call him, for RB. He went 5 for 5, 2 doubles, 2 RBIs, 2 stolen bases. He's hitting .457. Charlie Fick had a big day that day, 4 for 5. Also in that 11-0 victory. Bodie, are you doing game balls?
Yeah, the guy that's been really impressive to me so far this season, Trevor Fox from St. Augustine, as of yesterday, just hit his 5th home run, now batting .449. He's homered in back-to-back games and really heating up. So St. Augustine, really deep lineup, I think is as good of a lineup really as there is in the county this year. If they can get enough pitching, that's a team I like to make a run.
They were the back-to-back-to-back home runs, or was it back-to-back-to-back-to-back home runs? They did one of those two in the Lions.
Yeah, I think it was
tournament.
3, yeah. But
Jeez.
you go through that lineup, and it seems like almost all of them can hit it out.
Yes, absolutely. A bunch of mashers. I would like to give my first game ball out to all of the teams that won team championships at the swim finals over the weekend. Torrey Pines, boys and girls, both winning Division I. And then at the Division II level, University City winning the girls' championship. Dave, you officially go to a girls' swim school. Stand proud. And then Bishops, this sentence just doesn't feel right to me in the aquatics community, being Division II versus open, but Bishops on the guys' side wins Division II. Dave, game ball number 2.
Ooh, I like that. I'll piggyback off of the Saints game balls that we're doing here. My guy Chas McRoberts is probably one of their best pitchers, and he's literally just been Mr. Consistent for them. Every start, putting in a ton of innings, getting them deep into the game, and I don't know, he's got some of the best numbers, like Bodie said. So it's part of the reason why they're one of the most solid teams. They have the hitting, they have the consistent pitching every week. So congrats to you on a fantastic year so far, Chas.
Bodie, your next game ball.
Next one up, I will go with Quincy Scott from Mission Hills. He has 21 hits this season. He has a hit in every game, hitting .500. I think this is an overlooked guy. Just really good outfielder and a hitter, and I expect him to find a college spot to play at.
Can I give my next game ball out to the fact that Petco Park is allowing us to have the baseball games there for the high school teams?
Very exciting.
Awesome news.
That's going to be huge. That's going to be 2 days of games, and we will get to that more. Yes, because next show will be still prior to those games.
I had an interesting question the other day, and it was, why don't the Padres have CIF games there? And I thought that it was an interesting question, but my answer was, every single year, so many different teams get to play at Petco. But then when you look at the CIF games, a lot of the same teams are back-to-back seasons in CIF finals. And I think this is a really good opportunity for a ton of different teams to get a chance to play there. And I think that's why the Padres do it, is to really make the memories that not every player gets to have when, you're only playing in a championship game. Those games at Petco feel like a championship game.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many different leagues that have gotten to play in them over the years, and it's just cool to represent so many different teams that have had that chance, not just the the teams that are making playoff runs.
Right.
We're going to hit a quick elevator music while I explain to these guys the real answer why they can't do championship games there. Next game ball, Dave.
All right. I've got only a few more, so let's do this. Let's go with Colby Raphael. Plays up north at Vista. I've been following him this season. After 13 games, he's still hitting .486, so I feel like that definitely deserves a game ball. He's spraying the ball all over the field, so stay hot, my guy.
Stay hot, my guy. I love that phrase.
I'm going to go over to Steel Canyon with this one. Junior Weston Clark, 16 stolen bases so far, and he's hitting .511. Not just a guy that, like we've talked about power with different players, but guy who gets on and really makes it tough for the opponent.
23 hits in 14 games for Weston. Bodie and I were on the same page today. I had to give Weston a game ball too. That was funny. Yeah, that's how I had.
We didn't even play on that one.
I had him down 23 hits, 14 games. That's awesome, man.
I'd like to give game ball out to the Patrick Henry girls lacrosse team. They have scored over 20 points 5 times this season.
Wow,
that's impressive. That's fun. That's kind of like the Padres game against the Diamondbacks yesterday. You know, you're just when you're
7
blowing
hits in a
games
row
out like that.
Yeah.
That's fun. Those are comfortable games.
Buddy, did I just skip you in terms of game balls? Did you give one?
No,
because I was reading my notes and I was not entirely listening. All right, deal.
Yeah, we combo.
Are we good on game balls, or do you have one left, or are you ready for dingers?
One left.
All right.
We haven't given the guys over at Westview much love this year.
And yet they're really good.
To a 9-4 record.
Okay, let's put this on the poll. Our first poll at SD Prep Insider of the day. Is Westview baseball the quietest 9-4 start ever?
I mean, I looked at their stats. There's a bunch of guys hitting on that team quietly. No 489s, you know, none of this Colby Raphael's all over the lineup. But they've got Darren Cho and they've got Patrick McClellan leading the team. I mean, both those guys have 15-plus hits. And ultimately, Darren's been like catching, pitching, and hitting. So for him to do all that, it's and them to be off to a 9-4 record, that kind of says a lot about what he's doing over there. They're on my radar. Top 15 probably right now for me.
Yeah, and they've played a really good schedule as well. That's a team I've had in consideration. I think just need a couple more wins, and I know in league play they'll get some more competition, so definitely an opportunity to move in. You
can find all our polls at SD Prep Insider on Twitter, on Instagram. They don't always make sense out of context, so that's why I encourage you to listen to the show, so they actually do make sense. Dingers?
Dude, I'm so ready for these. Bodie stole one of mine. But that's okay. Dingers. And more dingers.
Dingers, baby. Dave, every week, takes a look at the biggest, baddest, loudest bats in San Diego high school baseball and softball with his segment called Dave's Dingers, where it's only the long ball and occasional triples and maybe a double if it's a light week. But yeah, home runs. Dave, take it away.
All right. This was not a slow week in a sense, but the top home run leaders didn't change. Trevor Fox gained some ground. He's up to 5 now, so wanted to make sure I mentioned him. Same with Jake Woltman for LCC. Guy who's just absolutely thumping the ball right now. He's got 5 big flies also.
Bodie, you got a chance to talk with him after the game that everyone should head over to Scorebook Live and or follow Bodie on Twitter at SD Preps for a chance to watch their interview with him. I see you leaning toward the mic. Did you actually have anything to contribute there, or can I go back to Dave?
No, he had a big home run in their win over Rancho Bernardo. I love to see guys like that show up in a big moment where you're taking on the number 1 team, and he came to play that day, and they got the win.
Do we put that on the poll? Do you love a guy who shows up in the big moment?
Yeah, we call those guys not 5 o'clock hitters, right?
That feels really mouthy and wordy. A not 5 o'clock hitter.
I'm not. If I told you I'm not a 5 o'clock hitter, you'd be like, okay, go do your thing in the game, right? You call me a show and go guy.
Have I been out of baseball that long that none of this makes sense to me right now?
I get what it means. It's just a little too much explanation to figure
Show
out.
and go. No BP.
Or wait. Has Dave become the pitching coach from Rookie of the Year? Is that what we have reached now? Is he hot ice guy?
I really learn a lot being around young players and things that I was like, what does that mean? Oh, okay, I'm going to use that now. All
Did
right.
you say yeet? I apologize for that, Dave. Keep going.
That's not one of my dinger phrases. Ali Camarillo, Cal State Northridge commit, first dinger of the season. Like Bodie said, this was his first league game. He's hitting 483. Interesting thing with Ali, he might have a chance to get drafted this year. He's very smooth in the field. He's got a very loud bat. Someone that in San Diego we need to keep our radar on. I think scouts really like his smoothness and how quick he is to the ball and especially with his hands in the field. So radar watch for the draft. Conrad Bonert, 3 dingers this season. He's got 9 extra base hits in 13 games.
It's out of here.
Slugging percentage, I think, is pretty good after that. And probably one of my favorite names of all the home runs I've given out this year, Connor Blau. Sage Creek. He had 2 home runs against LCC in that 7-4 victory. Sage Creek now back in my top 10. Connor Blau's committed to LMU. I talked to his coach last night. Super big leader on the field. Great guy to have around. And like you said, big players come up with big hits in big games. And
he has nothing to do with 5 o'clock. He's the furthest thing away from 5 o'clock.
Big hits, big games. He's your guy. Bling Blau.
I like it.
Bling Blau?
That's a poll. Get on the poll. Connor Bling Blau.
No, I'm just putting Bling Blau.
Oh, man. What a fun episode.
BLAU, right?
BLOUGH.
Yep.
Okay. BLOUGH.
Just for reference, I had to contact his coach and make sure I had the pronunciation right, and it was so worth it. It was so worth
Elevator
it.
music again. Elevator music again. Elevator music's a new segment where we make sure we don't get fired. All right, so BLING space BLOUGH question mark is our next poll at SD.
Ruben might be checking in on you here soon. Not sure with the polls.
I gotta make sure I get this one edited quickly to explain to everybody.
Yes.
This can't get posted. Keep going on the dingers, please.
That was it. Trevor Fox was my last one. Keep watching the leaders, guys. Some of these guys on the top of the list are just not getting pitched to. You know, if you really are watching like the Marcelos of the world, I mean, if they get a fastball to hit, it's happening occasionally, and when they do, these guys are thumping the ball. So keep watching these guys. I'm excited to see how this home run race finishes.
Yeah, the home run battle's been awesome. And you talked about Marcelo not getting pitched to. In 16 games this year, he's already been walked 17 times and hit by 5 pitches. So despite the average being at 381, which is still very good, the on base is 576 because they want no part of him.
Same thing with Pajak. Pajak is, I think he got walked 3 times. He was 1 for 1 and with 3 walks in his last game. So, I mean, that's good for the team, and that's part of the reason why Lohe Country Day is winning is because they've got guys that are actually driving the runs in now when other teams are walking. So I think that's when the teams become dangerous. If you have guys in the middle of the lineup you can't pitch to, you have to put them on base, and then other guys are picking up the slack.
And to be able to do that at the high school level, where you are a program that has done that for 5 or 10 years, like some of these schools have, bro, we are on another one in terms of the pipeline of talent that we have coming through here.
Yep.
I love high school baseball season.
Totally.
I'm stoked that we're going to have playoffs. Bodie, would you mind? You're done with dingers, correct?
Yeah, I
we'll
just
come
have
back
a few weekly walk-offs.
I want to bounce over to a playoff thing real quick, and then we'll come back for walk-offs. What is the latest, according to your understanding, of where we are with the playoff situation in terms of Season 2 sports, section and region-wise?
Yeah, so sectional-wise, I expect it to be pretty normal. I know that a lot of these are going to be happening later in the year than we normally expect, and they'll be going into June. And then with regionals, CIF State announced yesterday that they'll have Southern California Regional Championships in baseball, boys and girls basketball, golf, soccer, softball, tennis, and boys volleyball, which is great news. And baseball and softball have never had that before. I think maybe in future years we can extend it to state, but so far this year, in the Northern California sections, a lot of them aren't even having sectional playoffs. So
I just want everybody to really focus in and understand on what Bodie just said. There will be the semblance of a state-level playoff for baseball. We are a baseball city.
Yeah, it's time to represent.
We watch this, and no offense or all offense meant to the other sports, but we watch this alleged group of very well-picked representatives go from our section to the state level or regional level, and usually we don't do super, super well. I mean, we have not been sweeping all of the football consistently like we did in 2019. We had a really good 2019 for the state levels. We are usually, we'll have one team at different, one basketball team at the lower divisions, like a Southwest, San Diego makes a deep run or something like that. I don't see why we wouldn't not expect to win everything in all of the state categories in the entire state playoff as a San Diego section. Like, am I wrong in saying that we could go for a clean sweep everywhere we go in the state?
There's definitely some candidates, and I'll be interested to see how the teams get it split up by division. But like Rancho Bernardo is a team; they were number one in our state rankings last week in baseball. They've dropped to 3, but that's a team that I feel confident you put them up against any other team. In this case, it'll be Southern California, but you get the Thousand Oaks, the Harvard Westlakes, these dominant teams up in LA.
And I can't speak for all of history, but I don't remember, as long as I've been in and around high school sports, there being any state baseball playoffs.
No, this was a proposal a couple years back. I believe it was supposed to start last year.
And I'm saying back to like when we were in high school, or Dave, there wasn't state baseball. Like, and to think about all of the certifiably legit baseball talent that we have,
many teams over the years that maybe a poll ended up saying they're the state champion or said they're the national champion. I know some teams locally, Rancho Bernardo, La Costa Canyon, East Lake, have all had claims to being a state champion in the past, but now is a time where they're going to be able to go show it and prove it, and I think it's awesome.
Well, and like I think about Casey Schmidt getting a chance to, his championship game against, what was that, Torrey Pines? Where he went yard the very first inning, or was that Poway? Poway.
Yep.
He goes yard the first inning. He's swinging the best bat he's ever swung in his entire life up to that date, and he's now a legitimate, he's going to be in the majors in a couple of years. But the thought of him moving on to, oh my God, he's on fire right now. Let's give him Harvard Westlake. Let's give him Corona Centennial. Let's give him these other. I'm like, oh, bro, we're in for our best. We're in for that will be the pinnacle of, I'm willing to go on record and say that will be the pinnacle of high school sports in California every year.
Well, and for softball too, there's so many dominant teams. Modern Day Catholic's been on a run down here, so I expect our teams to show out well. And just to clear up how the regionals will work for that, for baseball, our sectional playoff, the championships will end on June 18th and 19th. So then the next week is for regional. So I'm expecting it to be a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday format. You play 3 games. And
Dave, what's your reaction to all this?
For it.
I think we talked about this a couple of years back, and it's like you said, this is our time to shine. Players in San Diego deserve this type of baseball. They work hard all year round, right? Ultimately too, like a lot of the players will go and play for some of the best travel teams in San Diego, and then go travel out to Georgia and play the most prominent tournaments. So to me, this is just should solidify and really ultimately develop the players in San Diego like it should, right? You're going from high school ball, you're going to the state championship. These guys are getting a chance to play the best players in San Diego, and then you go play travel ball tournaments over the summer. And on your way to getting ready to either getting drafted or playing some Division I baseball, I think it's just an outstanding avenue for these players to get better.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to this. And I'm also looking forward to hearing from your walk-offs.
I got two. Bodie reported this one yesterday. Point Loma beat Santa Fe Christian 3-2. That was a walk-off by Matt Nuanez, walk-off single. And then Grossmont beat Eastlake. I mean, I think
I feel bad pushing it on Eastlake at this point. I mean, they're a program that can handle it. So much success in the past, but Grossmont just seems to have their number so far.
And you got to give the guys some love for that type of.
It's in heartbreaking fashion every time.
Well, and the first time they matched up, I was at the game. I had to leave, I think, in the 4th or 5th inning, and it was 9-2 Eastlake. I go, oh, well, they got him this time. And Grossmont just battles. There's so many bats in that lineup. This is a team that I don't think anyone's going to see in the playoffs, because even with pitching, it doesn't matter. They'll just run through it and keep hitting.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, when you look at this team, you can really hand the bat to anyone at the end of the game, right? And that's really shows how deep this team is, and ultimately when guys are, having victory, these type of victories, it comes down to, like, there's not much to measure the clutch factor on each team. We can measure launch angle, we can measure everything these days, but when it comes down to it, when you need a base hit and a barrel at the end of a game, who's it going to come down to? And LCC is showing me that they don't fear the end of the game. They don't fear 6th inning, 7th inning at bats. And that's something that when it comes down to playoff time and you're facing the best pitcher in San Diego, that is what it feels like for 7 innings. It feels like that type of tension, right? Kind of similar to, playoff baseball in the majors or Padres-Dodgers series, where every pitch is meaningful. And I don't know, I think LCC has got such they've built such momentum right now that this can really help them, into the playoffs. So
yeah, with the teams we've seen so far, and I think each of them are, like Rancho Bernardo, I think is a little step ahead, but so many of the others are so competitive, evenly matched. When this bracket comes out and seeing who's on each side, and with it being double elimination, unlike these other sports, it's going to be so competitive in playoffs, and I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, it's going to be it's just going to be nice to have playoffs.
Yeah.
Let alone have insane playoffs where everyone's going absolutely nuts. Anything we didn't get to this week, guys?
No, covered a lot. Fired up for the regional playoffs. I'm glad CIF was able to get that done, and unfortunately, it didn't happen for all sports, but those that are playing it did, and it'll be great to have the season almost go into July, and then we're back at it after that.
Yeah, freaking training camp is going to be like,
yeah.
Although we'll see about football. We'll see about football. Torrey Pines Lacrosse, Bodie, how can I get you to go to a game?
I will have to look at the schedule. I hit softball last week trying to get out to more sports. So definitely when they're playing, whether it's Cathedral, La Costa, you tell me what the best game is. And
all right, I'm looking up the schedule right now. We have it on the show. I need this on tape. Sorry. They play Cathedral May 1st.
Okay. What day of the week?
Oh, man, don't give me specifics. It just says May 1st.
I think.
And they play
Saturday.
LCC May 21st.
Okay. May 1st is Saturday, so I have to look at that one.
Hey, we got a maybe. And on that note, folks, we will say thank you very much for watching in. You can follow me at Mr. CPED or at SD Prep Insider. Bodie is SD Preps on Twitter and Instagram. You can also follow Scorebook Live at SB Live CA. David Ring is now DR Player Development on all social media.
Just Instagram.
Just Instagram. All right.
David Ring 4 on Twitter.
David Ring 4 on Twitter. DR Player Development on Instagram. He is the absolute house of highlights for all things swing. And just all things baseball.
Yeah, check out all the dingers I just posted recently.
Yes. See you later, folks.